You know, I invested $100,000, and over time, the value of the company grew, and I was the largest shareholder because I put the deal together. You know, I ended up owning close to 50% of the company, just under 50% of the company. And what happens at a certain point, you know, if your company is your company is kind of illiquid, right? But your investment, in theory, if you sell the company, let's say whatever the number is, let's say it's, you know, $10 million, just to make it really simple, and your stock is worth $10 million. The reality is, every day that you don't try and sell your company, you're making a conscious decision to invest $10 million into your business. And you have to ask yourself, you know, if I were a prudent investor, would I, and I had $10 million, that was the majority of my net worth, would I invest all of it into any one business? The vast majority of my net worth was in the company. And so what happens is, I think you say, you know, first of all, if you're going to sell, you've got to sell at a time when there's a lot of upside. If you squeeze every last bit of upside out of your company, at that point, you know, someone's going to look at it and go, hey, you know, there's not much growth here. You've got to sell it at a time when it looks like there's a lot of upside. You've got to be willing. There's some people who look at it, you know, I think you got to have the right mindset. Like, you could look at it and say, well, I have to get this multiple, and you could be really focused on that. Or you could say, I have to get this many dollars, and you could be focused on that. Or you could say, you know, this is my company, I'll never sell it. I mean, Buzzkirk always tell us never fall in love with your product. I always like to tell people too, don't always fall in love with your company. But, and I had some advice, I think some good advice, a guy in YPO, a guy named Jerry Goldress, who was a turnaround guy, and he said, I just can't tell you how many times I've seen people build businesses, never take money out of the company, and they're riding high, you know, for years and years and years, and boom, something changes. The economy changes, market conditions change, competitive environment changes, a technological change, somebody gets sick and dies, something happens, and all of a sudden things change, and this person never took any money. They could have cashed out for 50, 60, 80, $100 million, and now all of a sudden the company's in a downswing, and things are really tough, and ultimately a guy like him comes in to turn it around, and typically these, you know, people, for all their efforts, it could have been 20, 30 years, end up with almost nothing. At a certain point, you say, you know, how much do I really need? So I was sort of looking at it very practically, and so I made a decision along the way, even before this, that we would try and sell the company when we had the right opportunity.